Hello friends, how are you doing? So we will be taking this quiz today on prepositions. There are 75 questions in all, and there are three options to each. The fourth option is no preposition, which I have not written because I would have to repeat this for every question. So sometimes you insert prepositions where none is required. In that case, the option will be no preposition. Okay. Otherwise, for every question, I have given three options. So let's start. The first is for every question, I will give you a couple of seconds to think it over and then I will tell you the answer. So, the first question is your presence is always a great distraction. Dash me, the scientist complained, dash his wife. So, you have to fill in these dashes. So, the answer here is A, 2 and 2. Your presence is always a great distraction to me. The scientist complained to his wife. So you always make a complaint to somebody. For example, you go and complain to the police. You complain to the principal about something. Okay. And distraction, when you use the verb distract, there is no preposition. For example, when you say, you are distracting me, means you are not letting me concentrate. But the noun is followed by to. Distraction to me. Okay. The second is your over enthusiasm may be distasteful dash some of your colleagues. The answer is B. 2. Your enthusiasm may be distasteful to some of your colleagues. If something is distasteful to you, means you greatly dislike it. So, many people, when they show too much aggressiveness and over enthusiasm, it might irritate others. That is what it's saying here. Your over enthusiasm may be distasteful to some of your colleagues. Not a bad thing in itself, but some people find it a little annoying. Malaria is endemic dash India. The answer is N. Endemic means prevailing over a large area. So malaria is endemic in India. And even though what it actually means is that it's in every corner of the India, in all states, still it will not be proper to say over. Malaria is endemic over India. That will be rather wrong. So malaria is endemic in India. He was furious dash the delay. Furious means angry. And the answer is at. He was furious at the delay. Similarly for angry also, he was angry at the delay. And you may be angry about something, but with somebody, but the cause will be given by at. He was furious at the delay. He was angry at the delay. About will also be acceptable here, but it's not here in the options. Your other dash maths. Your other good dash maths. The answer is at. You are rather good at maths, good at music, good at calculations. Okay. So you are rather good or bad at something. In may sound plausible to Hindi speaking, students, but in will be incorrect or just slightly acceptable. At is the proper word. You are rather good at something. The teacher heaped praise dash him for his wonderful essay. Heap means to give something in great amount, great quantity. The teacher heaped praise on him. You praise somebody and you heap praise on somebody. So praise is noun as well as verb. Here it's used as a noun. The teacher heaped praise on him for his wonderful essay. He succeeded dash implanting a sensor in the patient's brain. In He succeeded in implanting a sensor in the patient's brain. You succeed in doing something. He succeeded in implanting a sensor in the patient's brain. Then act. Please don't leave your house till you are completely cured. You may infect others dash the disease. The answer is with. Please don't leave your house till you are completely cured. You may infect others with the disease. I would jump this offer if it had been made to me. I would jump dash this offer if it had been made to me. The answer is at. You always jump at an offer. India abstained dash voting in UN on this issue. The answer is from. When you don't vote, you abstain. And India might have, for some reasons, India didn't want to vote, so they abstained. So India abstained from voting. I tried to alert him dash the possibility of a big loss in the venture, but he was adamant. Alert him to. Alert him to this possibility. He often boasted, the answer is already written here, to his friends about his wealth. You boast to someone about something, and not a good thing to do actually. It is said with disapproval. He often boasted to his friends, and often it is, most of the time it is untrue. What you boast of may not be true. That is what the word implies. And even if it is true, boasting may not be such a good thing. It boils down as this: he will not vote for you tomorrow. The answer is two. It boils down to this: he will not vote for you tomorrow. I mean, taking everything into account, the final result is what something boils down to. Okay, it boils down to this: he will not for he will not vote for you tomorrow. This news was leaked dash the media by the secretary himself. Leaked to. Something is leaked to, and then this might be in the media, that thing. But you don't leak in the media. You always link to the media. Okay? Everyone tried to blame dash the security guard for the theft. So here there will be no preposition. Okay? No preposition here. No preposition. Okay. Ah, you might think that it might be to blame to the security or on. You put the blame on somebody. But when you blame, just blame, verb, then it will be without any preposition. Everyone tried to blame the security guard. So the answer is no preposition. Okay. So next is he was brainwashed dash thinking that it would be very profitable to sell the house. Ignore this bracket. The answer is into. When you brainwash somebody, you convince him rightly or wrongly into doing something. So he was brainwashed into thinking. Means after you brainwashing him, he started thinking on deadlines. So he was brainwashed into thinking that it would be very profitable to sell the house. And remember, after every proposition, when there is a verb, it will be always in the ing form. Brainwashed into thinking. Okay. The answer is B, into. He was very close dash to his elder brother. Close to. You're always close to someone. You may be close to your father. You may be close to some of your friends. And this fellow, he was close to his elder brother. He was committed dash his career in journalism. You are committed to something. For example, in this case, probably his father or his mother, his siblings, they didn't want him to go into journalism, but this fellow was committed to his career in journalism. Means he has decided and he was going to follow that route. Okay, so he was committed to. You should refrain dash scolding your juniors in front of their colleagues. Refrain means avoid. Should not be doing that. You should refrain from. Okay, you should refrain from scolding your juniors in front of their colleagues. Scold means you take somebody to task, you tell them that you're not very good at your work and you need to tighten your belt and all those kind of things. You need to improve. That is scolding. So you should refrain means you should not doing this. You should not be scolding your juniors in front of his or her colleagues because it's very insulting to him and he loses interest in his work or her work. If you have to scold, you should scold him or her privately, not in public. Okay. He relapsed, comma again. Into. If you are in a coma, you cannot means you are not in your senses, and you have to be fed, and you have to be. I mean, other things to the machines. So if somebody is in coma, then they come out of it and then they start talking, they're in their senses. And if there's a relapse, they again go into coma. So the preposition is into. He relapsed means went again into coma again. He reminds me dash his father. They have the same way of speaking up their minds. The answer is of. He reminds me of his father. They have the same way of speaking up their minds. So this gentleman, he might have been friendly with his father, and now he is dealing with his son, and he finds that they are very much alike, and therefore when he sees him, he reminds him of his father. Okay, same way of speaking up their minds. A particular characteristic his father and he himself both had. This inadvertent mistake is no reflection dash his abilities. Inadvertent means something which is not done, consciously, not deliberately. The answer is on. This inadvertent mistake is no reflection on his abilities. That means this mistake doesn't show that he is no good or something. This was inadvertent and this should not be taken into account while assessing his capabilities. This is what he's saying. This inadvertent mistake is no reflection on his abilities. This idea of poaching from other companies is repugnant dash me. Repugnant to me. Repugnant means if you find something horrible, you cannot stand that thing, then that thing is repugnant to you. So repugnant is followed by to. And poaching, when you contact people from other companies and you try to get him or get them into your company, that is poaching. A bad thing, but it is generally, very prevalent. This idea of poaching from other companies is repugnant to me. This means I would not do that. 34. He was restrained dash investing in the stock market for 2 years by SEBI. Restrained means you're not allowed to move or you're not allowed to do something, then you're restrained. So restraint will be followed by from. He was restrained from investing in the stock market for 2 years by SEBI. This is a regulatory body, so this fellow might have done something wrong, something illegal, and he was being punished. Apart from made to pay the fine, etc., he was also restrained from investing. Means he could not invest in the stock market for 2 years. Restrained from. Then we have 25th. We will revert dash our old style of doing business. Revert to. Revert to our old style of doing business. You're doing something and then you take a new route, a new path, and then you revert. Means you come back to your original path. That is reverting. So we will revert to our old style of doing business. So apparently these guys they adopted a new style and it didn't work. So they are thinking of reverting to their old style. So we will revert to our old style of doing business. It's a very simple sentence. Carrots are rich in, sorry, that is the answer. So carrots are rich in vitamin A. And they are full of vitamin A, full of, but rich in vitamin A. I left the word who are you. Here it must be, um, I'm sorry, you can put the word you here. Who are you angry dash? And angry dash what? Who are you angry dash? And the answer is with. Who are you angry with? And angry about what? So the answer is with and about. Who are you angry with? And angry about what? So the person you are angry, who is the target of your anger, you always describe him with who are you angry with? I'm angry with you. I'm angry with him. And I'm angry about the delay or angry at the delay. Okay. Are you short dash money? You could borrow some from your brother. So that is a friendly advice. This fellow knows him and his brother as well, and he knows that his brother can lend him some money. So he is advising him. Are you short of money? When you're short of something, you have that thing in short supply and you need that. Are you short of money? Are you in need of money? The origin of this theory is shrouded as mystery. Shrouded in mystery. Means this theory is its origin is obscure and mystical. Nobody knows about that. Shrouded means enveloped. Shrouded in mystery. Means nobody knows about the actual origin. So you might be tempting to use with, but the answer is in. The origin of this theory is shrouded in, enveloped in mystery. To solve this mystery, you have to sift dash an enormous amount of data. Sift through, not shift, sift. Sift through means you have to take every data and examine it, and then you decide what is relevant and what is not. So that is called sifting, when you are trying to separate the things into relevant, useful, and non useful things. So it is always followed by through. So computers are very good at sifting through data. They can sift through the entire data in a matter of seconds. That is where their usefulness lies in. Sift through. His attitude smacks as a superiority complex. The answer is off. His attitude smacks of a superiority complex. Smack means it gives the hint of that thing, not openly, but in a rather indirect way. So his attitude smacks of. Smacks of a superiority complex. You don't like that fellow, that is. He thinks himself to be superior than others. 32nd. The city now has a big sports complex thanks dash the minister. Thanks to the minister. When you want to say that something has happened because of a particular fellow, because of the efforts made by the particular fellow, we use this expression thanks to this guy, thanks to the minister. Means because of him, the city now has a big sports complex. Thanks to him. He is afflicted as the disease of indecision, the greatest for an entrepreneur. Afflicted with. If you are afflicted with a disease means you are suffering from that disease, rather of a chronic nature, and say yes. Okay. So here it has been used rather jokingly that this fellow cannot take quick decisions, so he is suffering from that disease, kind of. So he is afflicted with the disease of indecision. And if you are an entrepreneur, you have to make decisions quickly. You cannot just sit on your decisions. That is what it's saying. He is afflicted with the disease of indecision. Are you acquainted dash him? Acquainted with. If you are acquainted with somebody means you know him. Maybe not very, deeply or not very, closely. You're not close to him, but you know him, then you are acquainted with him. Acquainted with him. You have no aptitude dash this subject. Avoid saying this to anyone, including your children. Aptitude for. You always have or do not have an aptitude for something. So this is a very serious thing to say to anybody. And unless, you know, rather I would say, unless you are really a professional advisor, psychological advisor, you should not say this to anyone. You have no aptitude for this because first, you don't know what is going on in their minds, and this casual comment, or even if you have made it very seriously, may actually uh, send them into depression. You have no aptitude for this subject, or I mean, to the in the very least, this is going to be very demoralizing for them. So you should avoid saying this. You have no aptitude for this subject. Okay, this they will have to. I mean, they have to come to this conclusion on their own. In any case, the word is aptitude, and you have an aptitude for something, or you don't have an aptitude for that thing. This forest abounds dash beautiful birds. So the answer is both. Abounds in and abounds with. Both are acceptable. Okay. Abounds means full of. If the beautiful birds, if the forest is beautiful, has is full of beautiful birds, you could say that abounds in these birds or with these birds. You can't miss it. It's adjacent dash the temple. Two. You cannot miss it. I mean, somebody is giving directions for finding a particular place, and he's saying that you cannot miss it because it's adjacent to the temple. Adjacent means their boundaries match. They have got a common face. Adjacent, very close, you might say. It's adjacent to the temple, very close to the temple. Close will also be followed by to, very near. 38. So now we are halfway through. It was a threat couched dash a very polite way. Couched in means it was said in a very polite way, but it was actually a threat. It was just couched in that way. For example, somebody says, I mean, someone who is threatening to kill you, and he says that you drive very fast, and You might meet an accident very soon. Something like this, if he says. So he is not directly threatening you, but it's simply clear what he is trying to say. So you will say that threat was caused in soft words or caused in a very polite way. Okay? Hidden, kind of. 39. It's difficult to sack an incompetent but sincere worker. Your conscience, I'm sorry, your conscience, this is your, not you. Your conscience would trouble you about depriving someone that's his livelihood. Deprive of. When you don't let somebody use or enjoy something and you're depriving him of that thing. Always deprive somebody of something. Between depriving and that fellow, there will be no preposition. Between depriving and someone, there is no preposition, but depriving someone of his livelihood. So what this thing is saying that if somebody is very sincere, but they really don't know their job, then you will find it difficult to sack them. Because if you sack, and which you'd have to do, your conscience would trouble you. I mean, your inner self will curse you. You will this decision will sit uncomfortably on you. In any case, we are concentrating on depriving. So depriving someone of his livelihood. You are desperate as India to win. Don't worry, they are going to. For you are desperate for India to win means you desperately want that India should win. Okay, so desperate for something means you are so much desirous of that thing that if that doesn't happen, you may be very mightily upset. Then you're desperate. To be desperate for something means to want that thing very much for any reason. So you're desperate for India to win. This fellow is consoling him that India will win anyway. What is the antidote dash snake bite? A very simple sentence. What is the antidote to? Means if the snake bites you, there must be some medicine which will nullify the effect of that bite, effect of that poison. That is called antidote. So antidote is always to something. What is the antidote to snake bite? For a second. What prevents you dash going ahead and starting your own business? From. What prevents you from going ahead and starting your own business? Okay, nothing is stopping you. That means, I mean, nothing is hindering you. Nothing is stopping you. You should go ahead and you should start your own business. Always remember when you put a verb after a preposition, it will always be in the ing form. It's very important. What prevents you from going ahead and starting your own business? 43rd. What inference could we draw Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. The answer is already there from this experiment. So, what inference could we draw from this experiment? Inference means the result or indication. What inference could we draw? So, you always draw some inference from an experiment. Inference from what somebody said. He resembles dash his father in both looks and behavior. The answer is no preposition. No preposition here. And there might be a resemblance to somebody. I mean, he may have a resemblance to his father, but when it is used as a verb, then there will be no preposition. He resembles his father. Simple. And also, his father here is not an object. You cannot turn into a passive voice. His father is resembled by him. That will be wrong. Okay? Even though it looks like, it immediately follows the verb and looks like an object, it's not a proper object. He resembles his father. Okay? Cannot be changed into passive. His objection dash the proposal was disregarded. True. You object to a proposal, and that will be your objection to the proposal. Okay? It was disregarded, it was not taken into consideration. His objection to the proposal was disregarded. If our country is teeming dash natural resources, how come we are still among poor countries? If our country is teeming with, if an entity is teeming with something means it has that thing in great quantities. So this fellow is asking if our country is teeming with natural resources, as is often told by many people, how come we are still among poor countries? Okay, that is the question. So team is always, it comes always with, teaming with. His callous indifference dash his workers' genuine needs led to his downfall. Indifference too means he didn't pay any attention to his workers' genuine needs, and his workers might have, revolted or something, and he might have to shut down his factory, and that led to his downfall. Callous indifference means very casual. If you treat somebody's problems with, you know, in a casual manner, then it is called your casual indifference. Means their problems and their troubles are not making any dent on your thinking. They are not making any difference to you at all. Then it will be your indifference. Callous, you might say casual. His callous indifference, even cruel, to his workers' genuine needs led to his downfall. Indifference to something. He was dashed the 10:30 flight which had to make an emergency landing. You always are on a flight. Okay? So he was on the 10:30 flight, on a flight, and in a train, in a bus. I don't know why the flight should be made to follow this proposition, but it is how it is. He was on the 10:30 flight. Is boredom preferable dash exceptionally hard work? True. Which prefer or words related to prefer? You always use to. I prefer tea to coffee, as you might have heard people often say. And this fellow is asking if you have to choose between very hard work And boredom. Sorry. What would you choose? A very funny question. So, preferable to. Is boredom preferable to exceptionally hard work? Means, would you rather suffer boredom than doing very hard work? Preferable to. I think you are correct, Dash, coming to that conclusion. You are correct in. You may be correct about something, but you are always correct in coming to some conclusion. History is replete dash such instances. Replete means full of. So history is replete with such instances. Means it had happened several times. The bridge collapsed because it was not designed as so great a load. For it was not designed for such a great load. The project was beset as problems from the start. Beset against means full of. So the project was beset with problems from the start. Means from the very start, from the very beginning, it started to experience problems. It was beset with, full of, surrounded by. Regardless dash the difficulties, they marched ahead. Regardless of the difficulties, irrespective of the difficulties, that is, they marched ahead. They didn't stop because of difficulties. They didn't delay the thing. They just marched ahead. In the parliamentary system, the executive is responsible as the parliament. Responsible to. You are responsible for something and you are responsible to somebody. So the answer is to parliament. So as you know, India has a parliamentary system. So the government can be in power only till they have a majority in the parliament. So in that sense, they are responsible to the parliament. This shirt fits dash you well. The answer is no preposition. Answer is none. No preposition here. This shirt simply fits you well. You don't have to put anything in between. This fits me well. This fits you well. Something like this. The company exceeded dash his request for a change in posting. Exceeded to. The company exceeded to his request. When you accede to somebody's request means you accept that request and you do accordingly. The company posted him to somewhere else where he wanted. Okay. So acceded to somebody's request, agree, agreed to, accepted. He escaped dash the prison last night. Very simple. Escaped from. Escaped from the prison last night. He had to apologize. I'm sorry about this. His, there are two his here. Only one should be there. He had to apologize dash his wife for lying to her earlier. Apologize to. You always apologize to somebody. Okay? For something wrong that you might have done. So he had to apologize. Why? Because he had lied to her earlier. So he apologized to her. Could anyone subsist dash rupees 100 per day in Mumbai? Subsist means survive. The answer is on. You subsist on something. Could anyone subsist on rupees 100 per day in Mumbai? Apparently not. Very difficult. You must conform dash the club's rules and regulations if you want to avoid any controversies. There are two, similar sounding words, conform and confirm. So this is not confirm, this is confirm. Disconform means the answer is actually to conform to. If you conform to something means you fall in line with that. Okay? Conform to. You agree to follow those rules. Then you are conforming to that. So you must conform to the club's rules and regulations if you want to avoid any controversies. Okay? He disagreed dash me on this issue. He disagreed with me. He disagreed with me on this issue. Her silence on this proposal is tantamount dash refusal. Tantamount means almost same as. The answer is 2. Her silence on this proposal is tantamount to refusal, as good as refusal. Equal to. Tantamount means equal. Tantamount to. Almost same as refusal. Means she is not saying in so many words that she refuses, but her silence is almost equal to refusal. So tantamount is the word for that. Tantamount to refusal. I am indebted dash you for helping me out. I am indebted to you. Means if I have helped you, or if you have helped me, or if you have given me money, then I am indebted to you. So I am indebted to you for helping me out. He was true dash his word. He resigned the next day. He was true to his word. He resigned next day. That means yesterday he might have said that he was going to resign, and then he actually resigned. So he was true to his word. Let's settle this issue amicably. The answer is no proposition. You settle something and there's no proposition in between. So let us settle this issue amicably. If you think he would part dash his money easily, you're mistaken. The answer is with. Somebody parts with his money means he let go of it. I mean, he gives it to somebody else. And this fellow says that this fellow, I mean, the second he, if you think he, that fellow, which is referred by he is not going to part with his money easily. If you think that, you are mistaken. Means he is going to cling to his money as long as possible. He was relieved this dash his responsibilities with immediate effect. Relieved of means he was kicked out of job, kind of. Relieved of his responsibilities means he was told that he need not do anything now, and he will have to surrender his everything that he has um, related to his work. Relieved. Let go. He was relieved of his responsibilities with immediate effect means he might have done something wrong and therefore he was being kicked out. He differs dashed me on this issue. You always differ with somebody about something or on something. Okay? So he differs with me. I'm confident dash India winning this cup. Confident of. So the answer is A. I'm confident of India winning this cup. Means I'm confident that India would win. And then 71. I don't think he is qualified as the post. Qualified for the post. Okay. Don't dream too high. You must have a lifestyle suitable as your position. Suitable to. Something is suitable to you. Or something is suitable to your position. Not for. For is also somewhat, might be slightly acceptable. But suitable to your position is much better. 73rd. He was not accustomed as such a treatment. Accustomed to means it was not usual for him to be treated in this way. Maybe too high or too lowly, we don't know. But he was not accustomed to such a treatment. I found him deeply absorbed dash his thoughts when I called on him last evening. Absorbed in. If you are absorbed in your thoughts means that thought is consuming you. You are always thinking of that thing. So you are absorbed in that. Or suppose you are reading a book full with full concentration, then we might say that you are absorbed in your book. So I found him deeply absorbed in his thoughts when I called on him last evening. When I met him last evening. Called on, met. The minister was satisfied as the arrangements. Satisfied with the arrangements. So that completes our 75 questions, and I hope you enjoyed this. I would say this when uh, become familiar with a particular position, you are making a very significant progress towards your fluency because preposition is something that it will be, I mean, you'll have to come across this in almost every sentence, and unless you are very well read, you will tend to substitute it with your mother tongue's preposition translated in English, and that might be very wrong. So, I mean, they many times they don't match. So, therefore, it's very important that you go through these prepositions either in your, usual reading of novels or storybooks or newspapers, etc. Or you remember, try to memorize. Not memorize. Memorization is such a bad word. I mean, you should be familiar with this. You should go through this thing several times so that it gets imprinted on your mind. Okay? Very important thing. Prepositions cannot be learned overnight. and you have to, it can be very enjoyable too when you become, sort of uh, proficient at this. Okay. So thanks so much. We'll see you again in our next video. Thanks.